Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Welcome to Thursday Night Live, Kourt Chronicles. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How is everyone doing this evening? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for your patience while I was getting ready. You guys know I come straight in from work and hop on, so it takes just a few minutes to transition. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you so much. Welcome to Kourt Chronicles. Y'all, we have some tea to spill. We have to get into it. Hey, moderators. Hey, Pink Honey. Hey, Miss Richardson. Hey, April, my namesake. Hey, Jasui. Hello, hello, hello. And time check, where y'all at? And where y'all checking in from? Drop your state, your city, your province, your country. Let me know where you're checking in from. So y'all, let's get into the tea. As you know, I've been working on the deep dive for Wendy Williams. And I did the video today, actually, but while doing the video, something explosive happened. I got a call from Lori Schiller. This is the person who was entangled in the fiduciary petition for guardianship over Wendy Williams. So I called Lori. I had called her to do some research and do some investigative journalism for the jury, and I left her a voicemail. Lori ended up calling me back, and that was unexpected. I just assumed she probably would just ignore all calls because the original call went straight to voicemail. Original call, so I left a message, professional, polite, and I recorded that too because I was recording the video for the conservatorship. So I ended up just getting that happenstance while I was doing my investigation. So I want to make sure everyone is caught up on the Wendy Williams situation. Wendy Williams New York Supreme Court has granted a temporary guardianship over Wendy Williams. What is it? $50 to $60 million estate, her $54 million estate that is being held hostage at Wells Fargo. So Wendy has been trying to get her money back from Wells Fargo because she doesn't have access to any of her coins, y'all. No coins. The last thing Wendy posted was having $2 in her account. Hey, Mississippi, checking in. I see you. I see you. I see you. Washington State checking in. Oh, Washington. Oh, that's the home of Starbucks. Starbucks was founded in Washington. Welcome, y'all. Welcome to Kourt Chronicles. Welcome to Kourt Chronicles. We are diving into the guardianship and looking at the legalities surrounding Wendy Williams' guardianship and whether it's legitimate. And I did that in the recording, the video, and it'll be released tomorrow morning around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But of course, I wanted to cover the explosive callback from Lori, who seemed eager to spill tea, but she said she was under a gag order. But guys, I probed. Even though she said she was under a gag order, y'all know I had to hold her on the phone as long as I could and ask as many questions as she would allow. I didn't care about that. Now, she didn't spill anything confidential, but, she's, in compliance with judicial orders. But she made it clear in a few weeks she wants to talk. She wants to spill her tea. But also, you guys are listening because it was a real call. I was honest. I wasn't shy about perspective and how it seemed a little odd. It seemed a little odd that she would accept a fiduciary role if her former client had terminated her and also accused her of malfeasance. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can y'all weigh in? Even if it's a big client, $50 million, would you want to work with them if they accuse you of financial malfeasance, i.e. putting your hand in the cookie jar? Would you want to work with them? No, at least I wouldn't. Hey, Darker Perspective. Hey, Denzel, welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. El Paso, welcome, welcome. And hearts and prayers, letters to senators, all of that for Texas. Good evening, jury family. So let's get into a little bit of background about where Wendy stands. So let's just roll it back. Wendy, we know, is an American journalist, broadcaster. She started out in a small radio station, actually in St. Croix. So Wendy built her career up, from the ground up. She's originally from Jersey, y'all. And look at her rocking that Farrah Fawcett. Ain't that something? Wendy look good. Get it, Wendy. So Wendy always had dreams of going into journalism. And she studied at Northeastern and has a degree in journalism. And after graduating, that's when she went to St. Croix, the U.S. Virgin Island of St. Croix, working at a very small radio station so she could get her start. So Wendy didn't come from, a wealthy family like trust fund. She came from working class parents who worked hard, but her wealth that she has, when the self-made, she really is self-made. She really earned every penny. And this is St. Croix, because I know we have some people in other countries. So y'all, this is the beautiful U.S. Virgin Island of St. Croix. It is south of Florida, south of Cuba, and very close to Haiti. It's beautiful. It's a collection of U.S. Virgin Islands, and it's absolutely beautiful. So Wendy was out here after college, which is a dope job. That's a dope job. So she out in St. Croix, but it was like $3.25 an hour, but it's the 80s. And, it's the U.S. Virgin Islands, so it's more the Caribbean pay scale, commensurate with the Caribbean price of living, cost of living, whatever it is there. So she's doing her thing. She wasn't the shock jock that she is now, or she hadn't turned into it. But once she left there, St. Croix, and got her feet wet, she came back full throttle. Wendy came back. She got her St. Croix energy, and literally ever since then, she's been lighting up our airways from radio, television. Wendy's everywhere. And listen, baby, Wendy, low key, I thought about it. I said, Wendy was Miss Thing through the 80s, the 90s, 2010, the millennial. Wendy really has spent 30 plus years amassing millions. And they say 50 million is her, estimated net worth. I mean, but she really built it from the ground up. And she also wrote a book. I didn't even know that, but she has wrote a book and everything. So, I know some people may look at Wendy as one-dimensional, but she really is a entertainment icon just based on her track record. Now, Ms. Mocha, I love my jury because y'all be on it. I covered this in the deep dive, but I don't know why. Because as you guys know, banks are, how you walk into the bank. Every bank has this on the door. It says FDIC, and it says a little blurb at the bottom, FDIC insured, up to $250,000. So welcome, Kim. No worries. No such thing as being late. So get comfortable. Get your wine, get your water, your dinner. Get comfortable. Welcome, 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 y'all. Get comfortable. So when you go into the bank, it has that little FDIC sticker. They have to have that by law to let you know the limits of the bank's insurance on your account. And FDIC law says it has to be $250,000. So for the Richie Rich of the world and the ballers in the jury, if you have more than $250,000, it would be wise to put it in separate accounts of some sort, because one account is only insured up to 250. So, and let's just do a hypothetical, y'all. And I'm sure this is not the case. I'm sure she had a diversified portfolio, but because I couldn't imagine a bank letting her sit, $54 million into an account, because usually they'll encourage you to invest or something. But in a theory, if something goes awry with her money and it's all in one place, if it's the traditional type of account, and I'm sure she may have something escalated, but if it's a traditional type of account, and she's missing millions, all they have to do is reimburse her up to $250K. And she says she got millions in her account and she only had $2 to her name. I'm gonna be honest, Wells Fargo, y'all better be glad it was Wendy. Because baby, I would be down there with my picket sign. Like, no. So that's where we are with Wendy. So y'all, let's check out Wendy's perspective on it. And I know some people have saw this, so I want to just tee it up before we play the video with Lori.
Saying that I need somebody to handle my account. And I don't want that. I want all my money. I want to see all my money that I've worked hard for my entire life. My entire life.
Now, you see the emphasis on my entire life. And she said it with her whole soul. She meant that wasn't a Kylie Jenner, oh, I'm self-made. That wasn't that. No. Wendy literally started out in a U.S. Virgin Islands small radio station, not making the $15-20 million that she was making by the peak of her career, but she started really, really small and worked and clawed. And Wendy was a shock jock and provocateur. So it's not like she was loved in the industry. Everybody welcomed her. You know, people were usually running back in the day for Wendy because they know she's going to spill your tea after the party on the radio station the next day. And I mean, I grew up listening to Wendy through Charlemagne. Being from South Carolina, Charlemagne was on the radio station in South Carolina. And they would satellite in or whatever, it was syndicated. I don't know the radio terminology. And they would do a show with Wendy. And that's how my mom, all of us got hooked on her. It was like, whoa, she is wow. Like, wow. So she really built her career. And it wasn't necessarily from smoozing, but it was calling out celebrities. Now, yeah, you know, Wendy could be a little messy or a lot messy. That's what made it good. And either way, that's not grounds for her money to be entangled. And I always have to say this, y'all. If the bank is concerned about her health and concerned about Wendy's well-being, why not make sure she gets the type of help she needs instead of control over her assets? That's my quandary. So Kim B said, that's awful. Plus, isn't Wells Fargo the bank that had employees make fake accounts? Yes, they did. They absolutely did. And they had to pay out. And excuse me, they had quite a few lawsuits. They had fake interviews and fake accounts. Pardon me. Let me see if I could get the fake accounts information up, because this was with the fake interviews with minority and women applicants who were applying for corporate positions who were excited. And pardon me, that was Gucci with a $1,600 umbrella that doesn't stop the rain. So Wendy's money right now is tied up in this conservatorship with people who she does not agree with being entangled in her affairs, i.e., Wendy terminated these people. When Wendy terminated Lori, that's according to reports. Wendy terminated Bernie. So why would a New York Supreme Court find it sufficient to put these people in charge of the temporary guardianship, even if it's valid? Why choose these people knowing Wendy does not trust them? So now you have, every time Wendy files a motion or raises a complaint, the court is painting her as paranoid. And you know they like the big C word to be dismissive. But she's not paranoid. She has expressed distrust in a judicial pleading filed in the court to say that they have committed economic malfeasance, i.e. they messing with my money. How can someone who has worked 35, 40 plus years only have $2 to her account? How can someone who could, still get dressed, show up and go to Met Gala parties and try to save her show and try to petition the bank to release funds because she's trying to take care of her affairs. How can they say she's not trying to? No, they thought they were slick, but it's a new day. It's 2022, and Wells Fargo, we're not taking it. Unacceptable. We're calling you out. Period. Unacceptable. And Lori, I'm putting it on my calendar. And what Lori doesn't know, y'all, is I'm OCD. So I'm putting it on my calendar to ring you back in approximately 4 weeks. And I'll do a 4-week cadence, and we'll check in every time. You can hang up, not answer, but I will always be polite and professional. But we need the tea and the real deal, because I want to know why you feel so emboldened and empowered to take a position where someone has terminated you and expressed they don't want you in that role. It makes you look shady to continue to push for any type of involvement with it. So I don't know what documents they submitted to the court specifically. From the surprise witness, she gave us a rundown. Of course, you know, she can't show any medical documents or anything like that, but she gave all the information that she had prior to them sealing the docket. And Wendy had made expressions that she didn't even know anything about the release of these medical records. She didn't give her doctor permission to release her medical records to her bank, because most people wouldn't. That would sound crazy. Hey, doc, can you give me my charts to go take over to the bank? It would sound insane. Then why haven't they produced the statement? Even on the most standard checking account or any type of account, according to banking laws, statements have to be produced. You have to show that accounting and let people know where their money is being held, how interest is being accrued, all of that. So for them to withhold this statement, that's problematic. And what's unclear to me is if Wendy went to use her card and only had $2 available, or if that was just cash on hand. She was saying, like, I'm down to my last. Because to not produce a statement, it gives credence to Wendy's allegation of economic malfeasance. Does it not? If someone is accusing you of doing something wrong and you're like, I promise I'm trying to help, why not show your hand and be like, look, hey, Wendy, this is why I'm concerned. I saw that you usually spend this for the past 15 years, and all of a sudden you're doing this roller coaster that's scaring me. And as your advisor, I want to make sure, blah, blah, blah. Especially if you're going to retire from your show. I could see that. But for you to just be like, I'm not going to show you, and then say, I want to have control. How? And I don't know. I mean, and they sealed the docket. So we're limited. We have limited information. We have the resources that were available, and of course, things that are not confidential. But I don't understand why the court thought it would be appropriate to appoint someone that is, already objected to on the record. Yes. She has legal representation. I think it was Kourt Chronicles had contacted her attorney, Miss LaShawn. And y'all pardon me, I don't have attorney LaShawn's last name, and I don't want to misquote. So I'm sorry, Counselor LaShawn. I don't have your last name off the top of my head, but I know Kourt Chronicles is another YouTube channel, and she contacted Wendy's current counselor LaShawn, and she said they were working to try to overturn this. Miss Momo said that they're probably making false bank statements. Well, this is something I observed, and I don't know if it was just the algorithm thing. Thank y'all. Welcome. Get in here, like, share, subscribe. Thank you, moderators. Thank you. Welcome to Kourt Chronicles. So, y'all, so when I checked Wendy's net worth the first day, when I hit the Googler, as my mom say, it was 60 million. The next day, it was 54. No lie. The third day, it was 40. And I was like, wait a minute, algorithm. Now I know, Google know what you're up to and sometimes don't want you to know. So I was like, wait, am I tripping? But literally, I was like, oh my goodness, okay. But then I went to like Forbes and had to cross-reference because the numbers started being different. The first day was consistently 60. And we have moderator Jewell that has come through. It is attorney LaShawn Thomas, is Wendy Williams' counsel and legal representative, who has the huge task of going against another Goliath, i.e. Wells Fargo. And see, if y'all thought the Kardashians was a Goliath, have you ever fought a bank? Who has more money than the bank? Who? But now I have to ask Wells Fargo, how do you get your assets? I'm curious, is this conservatorship thing more common than we know about within the elderly community, within communities where people are actually disabled, incapacitated? Like, does this happen more than we know? Because they're doing it in front of our face with Wendy. Imagine everyday people. Imagine someone who has a big estate, but may have a disability. Everyone could be in on it. And I'm not saying that's happening, but I'm saying it's easy for impropriety to happen when there isn't any genuine oversight. As we saw, Congress reached out to California's court and asked about oversight and coming before Congress after Britney's case. Okay, so I also covered this, y'all, in a deep dive. That's the 60 Minutes that's being released tomorrow. But she didn't help her because so their strategy they were trying to articulate to the court is, we don't think she needs a conservator. Like, y'all are tripping. She's fine. So her family was nervous, is my understanding, that if they filed for a petition against the bank saying they wanted a conservator, the other side will use it against them and see her own family all petitioned for her to get it. So that further proves that she needs to be in one. And I could see how they would be concerned that maybe they would flip it that way. If 3 or 4 family members filed, just like, hey, either one of us, they would flip it and say, see, family has even barged in. Everyone agrees she needs this. So Wendy, y'all, is tied up in this temporary conservatorship until they say the end of June, July. Now let's talk about it. They defined Wendy, as incapacitated as the reason and grounds for the temporary conservatorship. They said it was because she was incapacitated. Well, let's get to it. Was she incapacitated, or was Wendy Williams having health issues? And let's roll it back. Wendy has not had a break in her personal life since 2018. The divorce and all of that started happening. And then after the divorce, all of her management changed because Kevin Hunter, her ex-husband, was also her manager on all of her business affairs. So she had to change management. And then Wendy, went through a nasty divorce, very public, very embarrassing. We all know about it. Not here to gossip about that, but Kevin cheated for a long time, called the girl his soulmate, had a baby, all of that. And now they living off Wendy's money. So she had that happen, the divorce, and then her health. And I don't know what her underlying pre-existing condition is. I think it was Graves, but I was not sure. So I don't want to say, but just some, health issues. Nobody's body is perfect. And she's still working her full schedule. So she's still working her full schedule, going through a very public, very nasty, and very big divorce because they split in big money over there, big assets, and also moving, relocating. I don't like moving, and my place is small. Imagine a mansion, just all of this. So her health began to fail. And I think Wells Fargo used when Wendy fainted in these moments like this to exploit. They use the media, just how they did with Britney. It's the same exact thing. They use these moments when women are having breakdowns and need help to exploit them economically. Britney and Wendy, allegedly, if these courts gave a flip at all about these women, they would have got them real help. The first thing that happens in all these situations is they go to the money. They go to the money. That's the first concern of all the lawyers, the judges. Like, if you really think Wendy is having a moment, why let's have compassion, whether you like her or not. Let's make sure Wendy okay. But don't use these cheap little photo ops, someone having a moment, to justify holding their money hostage. Because thankfully I ain't a celebrity. I had on some cute little heels today and almost tripped and was looking crazy. And I could have had a picture where I'm looking outside of myself. But for Wells Fargo to use this when Wendy is going through the divorce and all these events to then come in and take control of the money, it's just, it seems like in poor taste. It seems, it's no cute word for it, shady. Okay, so Nikki, jury member Nikki's asking, what's the difference between that conservatorship and a guardianship? So each state calls it something different. So in California, what Wendy has, it would be called a financial conservatorship. In New York, they call it a guardianship. But conservatorship and guardianships are in the same family whenever a court feels that a person cannot take care of themselves, if that may be physically or economically, and they need someone to kind of be their guardian. And it can be for an adult, and it's often used for children. Now, how is it that Wendy was healthy, strong, and ready to go and work for 40 years and make $50 million, and now it's time for her to chill and relax, and now her money clear up? Come on, Hollywood. Y'all ain't even slick. Do y'all want Wendy to just go back to work or something? What show they want her on? Because this is crazy. And then Wendy calls out Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo responds with basically saying Wendy is incapacitated. So, I mean, Wendy still, she has multiple homes. So now she has to go through a woman that she has fired. She got to go through this person to get her transactions cleared and approved. Could you imagine, y'all, if y'all went somewhere, if you went to Target, and now y'all listen, don't go to Target trying on a budget. Could you imagine, like, literally, because she said $2, you imagine you can't even go to Target and have a little explosion after a bad day and get you some candles and lotions? I mean, geez. Wendy worked day and night. So her husband got $250,000 when he left and half of the $1 million home. So he got his cut and cars. Now Lori's getting her cut. Bernie's getting her. Like, how is it that with these particular paradigms that are put in place to protect people, it seems like they're not being protected at all? Because whether you think someone is responsible or not, it is dangerous to have $2 to your name. If something happens, you have an emergency, SOL with $2. America ain't that pleasant and nice and friendly anymore. So Wendy is trying to get her estate back, y'all. Get everything. She's calling out Wells Fargo, and it seems like the media is being woke. So Wells Fargo's response to Wendy saying that Lori committed economic malfeasance was, and y'all, of course, this was a copy paste because they got so many lawsuits. We deny any allegations of improper actions with respect to Ms. Williams' accounts. Ooh, y'all see that, accounts with the S, and are fully participating in a court process to reach a resolution that is in her best interest. The financial well-being of our clients is at the heart of everything we do. So, and we were talking about the family, like, we know why they didn't petition, because they were trying to tell the court, we don't believe she needs this. But in New York, y'all, I did research, and okay, so in order to define someone as incapacitated, it's 2 elements of the law when you break it down. So a person is incapacitated if they are, 1, unable to care for their own property and or personal needs, and 2, likely to suffer harm because they cannot understand the consequences of not being able to care for their property and personal needs. So this doesn't seem like Wendy Williams' situation. And let's break it down. Okay, so the first element is if the person is unable to care for their own property and or personal needs. Wendy has been maintaining her property, and that's why she's reaching out to the bank, because she's saying, you guys are tying up my money and I can't pay my bills and take care of my responsibilities. I am at risk of defaulting. So that shows someone in the alignment of taking care of their affairs. If no, she didn't let, bills go run due, 90 days or something, and things are delinquent, they could use that. But Wendy is like, hey, I'm trying to take care of business. Y'all are messing with my money and also my fiduciary obligations with other creditors, bills, i.e. So the first element of an incapacitated person, as they said, has not been met from what we have. And I know the record has been sealed, so we have limited information, but what we have, that first element of incapacitation has not been fulfilled, in my humble opinion. Excuse me. So, y'all, let's look at the second element, which is it's pivoted on the first element. And in law, if the first element isn't met and your next element is pivoted on your second element, what do you think happens kind of naturally with that? The second element cannot stand alone. But let's go with it. And in law, we have this thing called Canons of Construction. So it basically is when lawyers fight over the small words. But how you know that these two elements can't stand alone? Canons of Construction, you look at the plain language of the sentence, and one of the big canon words is and. So that means both. And I know it's simple, but a canon of construction, because sometimes people will say if it was or, you could fulfill one. And it'll be an easier standard for Wells Fargo to meet. But with the and standard, that means all must be fulfilled, not just one. So already, just looking at element one, they've already failed. And that's just law. If you look at the first element in the word and you're like, but the first part, this right here wasn't fulfilled. We done already. But let me show you how privilege goes. They'll entertain the rest of it. If it's me up in court, Miss Robinson, you won't make it to that comma, baby. You got to be perfect. So let's get into it. And even though the first part before and wasn't fulfilled, likely to suffer because they cannot understand the consequences of not being able to properly care for their property and or personal needs. Pardon me, it's kind of late. So that's not the case with Wendy, because understanding the consequences, she articulated that very clearly, because she stated that I am at risk for default. So that's a high level understanding of the consequences of her financial obligations not being fulfilled. So I don't know if Wendy is the only person listed on her account. I'm just assuming so, since she's not married or anything like that. And maybe that's why it was easier for Wells Fargo to pull what I'm calling an attempted finesse. And an attempted finesse, absolute finesse. I'm not ashamed to say it, because they're a big bank, don't care. Don't care. A finesse is a finesse. And maybe I know a finesse when I see one. Okay. This is a finesse, Wells Fargo. And you could dress it up. You could put lipstick on the pig. The pig still ain't, she still ain't a lady. Now, Wells Fargo, don't forget, has a $3 billion fine that they're paying off for the fraudulent checking accounts when they were setting it up and allowing people's accounts to get all these fees. And don't forget, fees make your account go overdrawn. So they were ridiculous in that. So we have Wendy, y'all, trying to get access to her money. And what kicked this off was not Wells Fargo filing for guardianship. What kicked this off was Wendy asking about her money. Wendy said, when I began asking about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money. This is not fair. And Wells Fargo has no questions and answers regarding my money. This is not fair. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. Don't sound like she feel protected with that situation. It does not seem like she is being protected in this situation. It does not. Like, I don't understand how Lori, who Wendy put out a very bold statement, and you can't just defame people. Lori could sue Wendy if she wasn't telling the truth. Lori said, I see you. Basically called her out in the 4K, y'all. If they could do this to Wendy Williams, what happens to me and you? So I guess you can't get too rich at Wells Fargo because all of a sudden you're going to be crazy. You could keep going to work and making the money, but now spending it, don't get crazy, says Wells Fargo. So Wendy started to inquire about her funds, and Vavavoom fires Lori. And then Lori says now she's incapacitated. Lori, if your client who is worth $60 million was incapacitated, why did you wait until you got fired to call that out? That good. I'm glad she fired you because you weren't doing your job, if that's the case. No, Lori was trying to save her skin, and she wanted to save her client because she wanted the bragging rights to say she has a book of business worth blah, blah, blah. So reaching out to Wells Fargo to understand this, because Wendy's, and y'all, please know, Wendy's son tried to become the power of attorney, which I thought was brilliant, because I'm like, nah, that's your firstborn. Ain't nobody gonna mess with your mom. You're not gonna let someone come and mess up the home you grew up into, all of this. And they denied him that opportunity, which I don't understand why. He's a young man. He's very protective of his mother. Yes, he's young, but also he's lived his entire life watching his mom work. He understands her wealth. Like I've never heard anything about Wendy's son in the media to question his character. Not that I can vouch for him personally, but I'm just saying, just on his face. So I could only assume, if there is no other thing, that the court may have engaged in age discrimination, which is very real. And oftentimes, boomers, not all, but sometimes boomers can just assume because a person is young, they have no experience. Oh, you don't know nothing. You're too young. And I don't know if the court did that, but if they did, that's being ageist. Because if this child has grown up with this type of money access his whole life, he's not going to go crazy because it's not new to him. It's not like his first time in Nordstrom's. This is my family's legacy. So he was denied that opportunity to protect his mother's wealth. So they thought it would be better to hire a team of people that Wendy has terminated. And the first thing they do is make sure ex-husband's money is approved. How y'all gonna call this lady crazy? Listen, Wells Fargo, do not try me because y'all gonna call me way worse. You mess with my money, you bother me in a divorce, I'm having health issues, you know this, and you use it against me? Not cool. Not cool. So we have Wendy also with the media not telling full stories, because Wendy, they said, was at a Met Gala after party, 2022 Met Gala, honey, where Marilyn Monroe showed up with the fake voodoo hoodoo strand with Jason Lee in tow. And it's my understanding that Jason Lee has a very protective relationship over Wendy, just respect for her as a fellow, entertainment journalist. And they stepped out and looked beautiful and glamorous, but the media was so busy lying about the guardianship, they didn't even admit that she was out looking fabulous and full of her faculties. Now they covered that Marilyn Monroe strand in that dress 50 ways to Sunday, but none of this. And yeah, she has to pay people to guard her money, guard her from her money. And she can't know how much money she has. And y'all, Wendy just stopped working. The show just ended 1 or 2 months ago. And I've learned through my research that her salary was $14 million. So I think she has a right to know where her funds are, a bill of accounting of all assets. Wendy has amassed a huge fortune. So I looked up the judge and I couldn't find a lot on her. She is a Supreme Court justice. And y'all, in law, whenever you see justice, that's a big deal. Justices are the judge of the judges. They are the ones, the highest court in the state. So in New York, these cases are automatically in the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. It's not like it was appealed up that many times, but it is a justice on the case. And maybe that's probably why I didn't find so much information, because people are not going to besmirch a justice, honey. Woo, not the cloak of the robe. So I tried to look at some of her previous rulings to see if she was pro corporate or pro, plaintiff defendant. I couldn't really get an angle based on what I glanced at, because I was trying to see, she had a few cases that had big corporations. And I want to take my time to look at those cases to see if she's more leaning in all her cases toward corporations. Now that's how I do legal research. That's my behind the scenes. I go all the way, because I put a little asterisk and it was like 4 cases with other corporations. I want to look and see, does she always support the corporation, or is it balanced and fair? I'm just curious. And I'm not making any accusations. I want to just look and see, because we have Wendy with millions tied up. And I just don't understand why the judge would think it was okay for Wells Fargo to have control over her estate. Something ain't adding up, y'all. So do you all think, and I'm just going to ask the jury, I'm curious, do y'all think that Wells Fargo is not showing the funds because they don't know how to account for the funds? Thank you, Prissy. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, it wouldn't be us who would file a RICO, because RICO is criminal. The only person that could file criminal charges are prosecutors. So this is one of those things. And then y'all, they sealed the case. Now, of course, they are going to say they sealed it because they didn't want confidential medical documents to get out because of HIPAA. But that's not true, because you could redact the medical documents and release still, because most cases have some medical document in it. If you went to a therapist or something, they could redact it and still have the motions so we can see what's happening. And as a practitioner of the law, I stand firmly behind the position. Transparency is a beautiful thing. And if y'all are hiding stuff in the courts, people will not trust us in the law. People won't trust judges and juries and courts and the system if everything is cloaked in secrecy. And if you know you're doing things by the book, why wouldn't you want the public to see it so they can't have questions, so they can't cast doubt? Because I would want the peace of mind. But for the courts to just, we're going to seal it up, in my opinion, I think the attorney for Wells Fargo who filed it, David Pikus, was arrogant in that filing, because he saw the traction that and the media attention that this case was getting and the concerns that were being waged. So then he went, and I'm going to seal it up. You can run, but you can't hide, Mr. Pikus, attorney. David Pikus. Like, what are you hiding? I just want to see your motions. I want to see your legal arguments. I want to check the case law, because based on the one law that we've already pulled up, y'all, and put it back on the board, Article 81 of New York's law, and this incapacitation is governed by Article 81. A person is incapacitated if they can't take care of themselves and if they are not aware of the consequences of not being able to take care of themselves. And Wendy petitioned the court saying she needs her funds released to pay her general living bills and to maintain an economic standard of living. Sounds like someone who is capable of taking care of themselves. So we have CRX. Can Wendy's attorney go to court to unseal the documents? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prissy. Thank you. So Wendy's attorney, so in law, y'all want some tea? And this is powerhouse tea for y'all, because I know y'all pros say got attorneys. Well, let me tell you, people think it's a list of motions. You can file a motion in law literally for anything. Motion to and fill it in. But in this case, if I were Wendy's attorney, I would do a motion and I would go ahead and preempt what they're going to say. Yeah, it's the medical records. Do a motion to unseal all the documents with the medical records properly redacted in compliance with HIPAA, i.e., in other words, take out all the personal medical records and everything in there that mentions like diagnoses and medications, redacted out. But let us see the legal arguments put forth and challenged before a tribunal. Let us see the law that was relied upon, because once we looked at the very first law, Wells Fargo, y'all already fell short. Under New York's own guardianship law, and this is just me Googling, not being a New York attorney. I'm not barred there. I'm just somebody reading this as a legal analyst at this point. If this is the reason that Wendy was placed under guardianship, we do not understand how. Because by the definition of incapacitation, Wendy does not meet that based on the information that has been released to the public. And we have to wave the red flag to say there are grave concerns about them trying to seal up this case. So, and you see the surprise witness has been on this case, y'all, for months. You know, she's been on it from the very beginning. And she tweeted, Wells Fargo got permission, and she tweeted this months ago. She was on it, still is. Wells Fargo got permission from the guardianship court to keep the guardianship case anonymous. Wendy's name would not be on the guardianship filings because they'll have an anonymous case caption. What do they have to hide? Y'all, what do they have to hide, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? So y'all thinking Wells Fargo is the fines? Welcome y'all to Kourt Chronicles. We are looking into the Wendy Williams matter, really trying to understand Wells Fargo true angle. Because they took a moment where Wendy was down and out and ran to court with the photo op. That's what it looks like. Wendy has had bad health. That doesn't mean she can't take care of herself. It's people who have bad health in general trying to just make it in America. And ain't nobody coming to swoop them in. And Wendy has been vocal about her position. Y'all, this is Lori. I'm not trying to be shady. I could not find any picture of her in her professional attire. Her social media was closed, you know, hit the Googler, as my mom says. And this is Lori Schiller. And she's been managing Wendy's affairs, and Wendy terminated her. And once Wendy terminated her and requested a bill of accounting for her money because there were some issues, that's when Lori ran to the court and filed a guardianship petition. Jury member Kimby said, how does a bank control your money, a bank? Well, under New York's guardianship law, a person or an entity can file for a petition. So that's how the law gets you. Because remember, we was talking about the Canons of Construction. So this one is the word or. So either person in this scenario can file for a petition. And we have the letter from the attorney, and I didn't put the justice's contact information up there or anything, but just the body of the letter that they are requesting. It says, finally, at the very end, we intend to file opposition papers in accordance with, I'm sorry, guys, I can only see half the screen, so pardon me. Let me move out of frame. Okay, there we go. Finally, we intend to file opposition papers in accordance with the order to show cause. We believe the record in this case should be sealed to protect the petitioner's privacy. Petitioner being Wendy. Y'all see how they did that? Not because we're trying to hide our hand. Because if this is true, why didn't Wells Fargo file the secrecy motion on day one? No, it's after the tea started getting spilled and people start calling them out. So Wells Fargo says that and look at y'all, look at the privilege. And I don't know if I put the second page on here. Let's see. Oh, I didn't. But look at the privilege. Listen, I'm telling you, as a practicing attorney, I would never be so bold. We believe the record should be sealed in this case to protect the petitioner's privacy and pending such a sealing order. Now, how are you going to just send a letter to the judge? This is not a motion. This is lazy lawyering. This should have been a motion. I would never feel comfortable writing a letter to the justice. So no, you do a motion. You don't know the justice. Y'all are not acquaintances. Put some respect on the court. So we believe the record in this case should be sealed to protect the petitioner's privacy. In such a sealing order, we would appreciate permission to email our responsive papers directly to, and I'm assuming to you, blah, blah, blah. So you see that they're not even trying to do the normal filing procedures. Because in law, you don't send the judge papers. Guys, that's called ex parte communication. I think a judge would snap if you did that. In this instance, what you should do is file your motion, wait to be placed on a hearing calendar, and then the judge hears your case. But I hope Attorney LaShawn sees this, because no party should communicate directly with the judge unless all parties are present. This is inappropriate. He should file a motion, because when you file a motion, it's filed electronically and it's registered on the docket. But guys, when you send a letter, the letter does not always hit the docket. So as fancy as this shit looks, the truth is, in my humble opinion as a practicing attorney, it is bold, it's arrogant, and it looks shady. Or maybe this is the normal course of practice for New York. And it may be some New York counselors in the jury that could cue in and let me know. I think the surprise witness, is she in New York? I'm going to try to email her. Because I'm like, is this normal? But ex parte communication generally is not acceptable. And y'all notice the casual tone, or is it just me? How do you write a justice, the highest judge in the state, and you already asking for something that is extra? And then you're going to say, we would appreciate to email it. Email? Does that not sound informal to y'all? Email, sir, you need to file this through the court's clerk like everyone else. Because that's how they do. And I have to talk about my experiences as a Black woman attorney. I would never, ever be afforded such a privilege to be so cavalier. I wouldn't have a space to write a letter to a judge. It wouldn't, at least in the realm that I've practiced, this would be unacceptable. Unless the judge, has requested something at a hearing and told you guys to follow up and say, you don't have to brief it, just send a correspondence in that case. But this requesting, and it's just a letter, he could have took this same thing and took that dear justice off and put the pleading number to the court of clerk, the proper case caption, spaced it out, and put everything. But you know what? I see that he put the law. So I will, if you guys want me to, let me know in the second paragraph. If y'all want me to look at, I feel like you guys are, this law that he cited. Because one is Simpson v. Tommy Hilfiger. And he said this is the grounds that he says that gives him the legal authority to make this request. So if y'all want me to, do just a little 10-minute spill on what the case is about, I'll pull it up and post a video, maybe tomorrow, just a little quickie on that one, because I'm sure it wouldn't be long. I don't know. Hopefully Tommy Hilfiger ain't have no crazy litigation. So that's where we are. So they asked to seal it up, and guess what happened, y'all? Let me show you how privilege works. Y'all think the docket open? It's sealed. They sealed the docket. No motion. So they sealed the docket after Wendy said this about Lori. All she want to know is where her money is. Then she said this, and these are big allegations. She said, I know for a fact that Bernie used my American Express card to hire an attorney to file a petition against me, and that was done with my American Express card. This is not fair anymore. You're no good, and this is not fair at all. She sounds just shocked, like, what? And Bernie out here, Bernie, you cannot use people's credit card. Y'all, that is called, I think, is that not credit card fraud? Did she give him permission to use the credit card? And on top of that, then this crisis manager, and Bernie was fired too. And now he's back on the payroll too. Just to let you guys know what happened. So then there's the crisis manager. Crisis manager, Mr. Brigman, comes along while all of this stuff is going on and gives a statement about Wendy and his concern. Wendy had to check him because she didn't hire this guy and ultimately fired him. So you see what's happening. They got someone, you will want your crisis manager to kind of be your ace, because you don't want them out there participating in the media madness, which it appears Mr. Brigman did. I don't know if it was an accident or on purpose, but he did. So Wendy piped back and said, Mr. Brigman, although I appreciate your concerns and respect you immensely, I have not authorized you to make any statements on my behalf regarding my regarding my current status with Daymar Mercury. Again, thanks for continuing your continuing concern and support. Continuing concern and support. And he the crisis manager out here giving statements but hadn't talked to her. So whose narrative was he peddling if he didn't talk to his client before releasing the statement? How can Mr. Brigman, and this is no dig, this is a legitimate question. How can Mr. Brigman, how can you put out a statement about a crisis when you didn't speak to the person who's allegedly in the crisis? So who gave you the narrative? Who gave you the script? Because it's not based on the crisis. So y'all, let's get into the call with Miss Lori. It was quick, short, and I held on the phone as long as I could. But here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Let's get into it. And while I share my screen, could you guys hit that like and subscribe button, please? This is absolutely insane, guys. Absolutely insane. Hi, is this Lori Schiller? Hi, Lori. This is attorney April Robinson, and I also have a YouTube channel, Kourt Chronicles. And I was calling to ask you about you being appointed to Wendy's not conservatorship, guardianship. And I wanted to know how you felt about being appointed, especially since she had accused you of financial and fiduciary malfeasance. Why would you even want to be a part of a scenario where you have those type of accusations?
I'm not allowed to comment. I am not part of her guardianship. So just leave it at that. Give me a couple of weeks to call me back. You got the whole story.
And you said you're not allowed to comment, but I checked the docket. I don't see a gag order from a judge for you. Are you under a gag order? Because I don't see one.
I am.
Okay. And when was that filed? Recently?
Oh, no, it was always.
Oh, because I don't see a gag order for you in the pre-suit. Okay, so you said call back in a few weeks. And why am I calling back in a few weeks?
Because I can tell my story.
Okay, yeah, I definitely will. Yeah.
I am not her guardian, and I am very much still her advisor, so that's all I can say right now.
Yeah, you were her advisor by way of the court because she attempted to terminate you, and I'm sure you want to.
She never did, but that's actually, we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, that's cool. That's what she put out in Twitter. That's what she put out on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, US News, and Radar Online. And it was Wendy Williams. It was Wendy Williams' own words.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see.
I mean, honestly, Lori, I'll just call it what it is. I'm hoping we'll see because it's a big fortune. And as a fellow Black woman and also an attorney, I have severe concern when white people try to call Black people crazy and then later control their money. Because if someone accused me of a fiduciary, you said you're not doing what? Lori, I think I'm just blown away by the entire case. I don't want to deal with anyone's finances that don't want me on it. And I understand you saying there's things that you can't talk about. I get, but I'm letting you know in the Matrix, you're looking shady, Lori. And people are questioning your fiduciary abilities. Y'all, this is behind the scenes investigating the case. And yes, as you see, Lori actually hung up on me. So we're going to have to call her back because maybe the call dropped. Hey guys, so hold on, let me come back into frame.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
So, hey guys, I'm back. That was earlier. It was brief, but y'all see, I held her on the phone as long as I could. I did. I'm back, y'all. So, that was earlier. I, as you know, I walk the walk. I tell y'all, I keep the same energy. Who I am here is who I am. And you see, I dug like, why do you want to? But she said that's not the case. She's like, I'm not her guardian. I'm her financial advisor. I know, Lori. That's why we calling you shady, boo boo. And I mean, Lori called me back in less than an hour, y'all. I was shocked. And look, she thought she was gonna just say no comment with me. I'm a litigator. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna at least get 5 or 6. I'm gonna get some tea. So she already gave us some tea because she said you'll know in a few weeks. So that gave us a timeline. And apparently something, even though this is still, something is going to change how we view this case, according to Lori. And she said it's more that we don't know. But we do know, Lori, that Wendy fired you, boo-boo, and said that you couldn't answer where her money was. So again, I asked Lori on a public platform, as a professional, why would you want to work with someone who accuses you of something that could later lead you to like grand larceny charges? Like, if you got clients like Wendy, she's not your only client that's big, or maybe she is. Maybe Wendy was your only bread and butter, kind of like Lou Taylor, Britney Spears, only bread and butter type situation. So we got Lori, who said the tea will be spilled in a few weeks to clear her name. And let's roll it back to what she's clearing her name from. Because this is Wendy. What Wendy said.
I need somebody to handle my account. And I don't want that. I want all my money. I want to see all my money that I've worked hard for my entire life. My
entire life. And y'all saw the pictures from back in the day, fresh out of college. Nobody stays in there what you major in college your whole career. Wendy Williams did. As soon as she graduated from college, she started working at a radio station. And every job thereafter, she built herself up and up and up and up and up. And she built a career after telling celebrities off, whether we liked it or not. And now when it's time for her to retire and enjoy her money, she can't. Lori. Now, Lori has promised us, and y'all heard with passion and conviction, that we will find out the truth. Hopefully in a few weeks, it explains this too. Lori, will it explain why Bernie used Wendy's American Express to hire a lawyer against her? And why would a lawyer even say, no. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Even if there is concern, guys, the way you're moving, there is cause for concern. Someone says, this person is stealing my money, and what they do, go steal their credit card instead and hire a lawyer to stop them with their money? So Barney also was fired. So why would Barney want to work with a client who has accused him of grand larceny and said that she has evidence? When he said, I got evidence, I have receipts. And American Express don't play. They will send you a picture of the person who swiped it, zoomed in, fingerprint. American Express, and especially the big boy American Express, she probably come with a personal agent. So things are not adding up. It's secrecies. Lori says she'll see Barney hiring attorneys with Wendy's credit card. And even if he was going to do this, why not go through proper channels? Wendy, this is the plan. This is what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. And then to dismiss her and say she's crazy, dare I say, like, for real, it seems like they driving her crazy. And then you got don't forget the crisis manager. And even though well-intended, this is a crisis manager who gave a crisis statement without talking to the crisis C, the person in alleged crisis. So I got to keep asking, Mr. Brigman, who gave you your script? The notes that you wrote and your tweet or whatever, what was your statement based on? You hadn't talked to Wendy. She didn't authorize you to speak on her behalf. So who authorized you to speak on her behalf? And I know it wasn't just because you was feeling good, because what I do know is a white man in America ain't working for free. So Wendy dismissed him too. So these are a team of people who have been dismissed from their duties, and then they later file for petition for a guardianship over her money. If there was legitimate concern about how Wendy was moving, why didn't y'all file before y'all got fired? It's kind of like once you get fired from the job, well, I don't know, that's a hard one, because once you get fired, you might want to tell the truth about what happened in your mistreatment. Don't want to equate that to the same. But this is just like getting fired because you let the building burn down or something. And like, it doesn't make sense. Y'all got fired. And I think Lori was embarrassed because it was bragging rights. I have a book of business worth $100 million, big hotshot clients. And then you lost the sauce. And you had to go explain to your boss, Lori, how in the HE double hockey sticks did you lose a $60 million client? Because Wendy said, I'm done with y'all. So Lori, this is my theory, Lori. So hopefully you will disabuse me of what my theory is. Please prove me wrong. But my theory is you was shaking in your boots to go explain to your boss you just lost a $60 million client. Y'all, less than corporate America. You lose a $60 million client. Where's that little box? Put your plan in it, your little picture frame, because you out of here. So Lori spunt it. Wendy's losing it. Look, shit, 15 years and she threw me to the curb. I think, and Wells Fargo, in my opinion, doesn't have a reputation for being credible. So they wanted to save their own skin, or they probably saw another, opportunity and was like, let's go. And y'all do cost benefit analysis. The cost of getting a lawyer versus the win of having a $54 million cookie jar. The lawyer ain't gonna cost $54 million. And if he does, please, bruh, hire me and the whole jury. Everybody can eat then. So Lori says she's going to be exonerated and her name will be cleared. I hope so. Because if we're calling a thing, it looks shady. And also during my investigation, something else that came out, and it's just a sidebar because this keeps coming back up. And I feel like I may have to do a deep dive, even though a lot of people have covered it. But Wendy, and this tweet is from February 11, 2022. Within the past 12 months, Wendy Williams was reporting on Britney's conservatorship. Now she is potentially being forced into one. We all need to pay attention and really think about what's happening here. It could happen to any of us. So Wendy vocal, and y'all know Wendy. Wendy's vocal about the Britney movement, her opinion, giving her 2 cents. Next thing you know, she's the victim. Come on, Hollywood, y'all, that wasn't even discreet. And in darker perspective, the Britney connection is always unexpected. Like, I know it's a big case and I know a lot happened, but all the time it's always a different angle. Each time, like, I didn't expect to learn this. And I think this was I'm sorry, I'm trying to give credit to the where I saw this. I think it was just Twitter, or did some, I don't know if one of Kourt Chronicles had it in her video, but I wanted to make sure I'm giving proper credit. So Wendy spent 12 months, and y'all hold on, let's roll it back. Wendy talking about a situation. It ain't a regular conversation. It ain't regular tea. Wendy T be like lips burning hot. So Wendy was on her, giving her opinion. And you know, women, Wendy's big on female empowerment, women's rights, all of that. So she running it up, giving her opinion on her show, using her platform to also talk about Britney. And then now she has some type of, something in alignment with the conservatorship arena. It's weird. So, I mean, that's a big coincidence. I didn't even know that. Do y'all think that's just a coincidence? This conservatorship, and I wonder how widespread it is. Imagine the elderly community who, if someone doesn't have family or only child and they have a big pot of money, worked hard, what's the generation after baby boomers called? I don't know that one. But, just older, done worked hard, and old school, save all their money. And how easy it will be to get them in a conservatorship. And y'all, what bothers me the most about the conservatorships or guardianships is once they take control of your money, it's hard for you to say, I need money to pay for an attorney to fight this, because of course that's not in their interest. They're not going to want to do that. So in Wells Fargo, y'all, we can't ignore Wells Fargo does not have a pristine, angelic track record. So Wells Fargo has been sued for discriminating against Black mortgage customers. Surprise, surprise. They have been sued for fake accounts in addition to forged signatures. Forgery, y'all, forgery. So anything Wells Fargo say Wendy has submitted, I give it the side eye. I mean, that's my position. If you have managers instructing entire teams to forge documents, I don't trust you. So like the forgery is so widespread that you're fined $3 billion. Listen, I don't even know what $3 billion worth of forgery is like, but that's probably so much money that I ain't got enough money for the stamps on all those letters and correspondences and stuff that they were doctoring up. So that's who Wells Fargo is. And they want us to just trust them based off nothing. I don't trust them, y'all. What about y'all? You just put up there the law that they led with, at least the one that and this is why Attorney Pikes should release his motions, because attorneys, we're calling you out. If you're relying on Article 81 as written under New York law, Wendy does not meet the definition of incapacitated based on information that the public has. Wendy has 54 to 60 million tied up in Wells Fargo. Kathy, do you remember Kathy has pointed out, highlighted for us, the FDIC insures up to $250,000. So if Wendy, now listen, if Wendy had $54 million in a traditional account, Lori should be disbarred and lose her financial advisor credentials. Like, that's crazy. But hypothetically, if that happened, Wendy's only insured up to $250K. And at this point, I think that's why we need the transparency, because Wendy is asking people, like, hey, can y'all show me my money? And even that, honestly, that seems like a legitimate. And this was before she filed any petition. This was before Wendy filed, and she asked and did written notices. So she went the proper channels, guys. She filed her notices, did what she needed to do. And according to court filings, it said that she filed, I think it was 12 written notices requesting for her a bill of accounting for her statements. And guys, Kourt Chronicles pulled this off the docket before they shut it down, before it went blank. So shout out to Kourt Chronicles, because she pulled this, and this is from the actual lawsuit. And this is
for relief
Wendy
arises
spelling
from,
it
among
out
other
again.
things, Wells Fargo failure and refusal to reopen my personal business deferred compensation
Pardon me,
and
guys. Let
investment
me get the
accounts
frame
and
right, because I want
unfreeze
y'all
my
to see
financial
everything.
assets, which has caused and is causing imminent and irreparable financial harm to myself, my family, and my business. For more than 2 weeks, Wells Fargo has repeatedly denied my request to access my financial assets, which total over several $million. I have submitted multiple written requests to Wells Fargo, and I have visited various Wells Fargo branches in the South Florida area in an effort to resolve this matter outside of the courtroom.
Guys,
To date, I have submitted and made over a dozen requests regarding the financial damages resulting from Wells Fargo's decision to unlawfully deny me access to my account. As a result of my inability to access my financial assets, I have defaulted, and I am at risk of
Wendy, in
defaulting
this
on
request,
several
and I'll do a
billing
separate
and
video
financial obligations,
on this,
included
because
but
I want
not
y'all to be able
limited
to see it. And I'm sorry I
mortgage
didn't
payments
crop it,
and
or
employee
I was
payroll.
rushing.
In response to my
But
request,
Wendy
Wells Fargo has informed me
is
that
asking, she's saying, in a court filing, she's basically written, I have provided 12 written requests asking very plainly, where is my money? And each time they start talking about gibberish. I'm not crazy. I have my faculties, and I am asking a legitimate question. Y'all, if I got $4 in the bank, I want to know where it's at. On Cash App, I'll be looking like, wait a minute, did they take 15 cents? That wasn't there. It's like, I want all my money. So Wendy has not received clarity on her funds. And I don't know how it will hurt Wendy to know how much money she has. Unless she's missing something, and y'all know she gonna.
arises from, among other things.
I was trying to make it big again to see if I could enlarge it, because I really wanted to play the screen recording with Kourt Chronicles with her, with the full docket where Wendy spells it out. But I laid it out in the 30-minute deep dive that's being released in the morning. So I know this is our longer one, and some people may want to get a condensed one also, just all the receipts. And the video, guys, let me know with the call, since that wasn't a part of the recording because I was in the middle of everything. If y'all want me to just do a short 5-minute release on that, just so we can have that in the queue, let me know and I will definitely do it. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, before I close it out, can y'all weigh in, if it's you, not even with Wendy's money, how would you protect yourself in this situation? What would you do if you noticed the bank was coming for you? And I think maybe a good example would say something happens, you get a settlement, or maybe you get a bonus at work. It's just, some dough. And all of a sudden your bank started moving funny. What would you do to try to protect yourself if you saw them trying to set you up for the finesse? Especially if y'all banking with Wells Fargo. And you ain't got to tell us who you banking with. But if you banking with Wells Fargo, please let me know what's your strategy to save your bag, save your coins if something's happening. Like what's the plan? Get a lawyer ASAP. Absolutely. Absolutely. CR said, get a lawyer. Okay, there we go. First step, get a lawyer. And Bright Black said, I'll be calling you. Okay, so let's get a lawyer. So also, lawyers, y'all know what it is. Everybody look, lawyers costly. And then they already coming for your money. So let's see, I might set up an appointment with my therapist and not even tell my therapist about that specifically, but just say I got stress. I just do my normal sessions so that later, when it's time to spill the tea, I can pull my therapist records to show like, yeah, I saw this stress, but it wasn't a big deal. I've been under the treatment of such and such, doing my weekly sessions, getting my feng shui, zenning out, woo-saw, boom. Like not showing your hand, but just quietly like, okay, I'm gonna start going to therapy and not even tell them. So then my therapist could be like, what you talking about? I've been counseling and providing wellness, mental wellness, or whatever. So I would do that and get an attorney. And once they start moving funny, I don't know if it's a lot, if I would go and just shut it down immediately, because then they might get all aggressive. But baby, it'll be a heavy auto transfer out under like savings or something, savings for a house. So it could be a big like boom and start moving my dough. Yeah. And don't keep more than $250,000 in one checking account if it's only FDIC insured up to $250K. So if you get a big settlement, y'all, and I'm hoping everybody get one for something amazing or a bonus, 500,000 or win the lottery, don't put it all in one account, especially if you banking with Wells Fargo, because everything will not be well and Fargo's your money. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, that was a cheesy joke with Wells Fargo, but seriously, all seriousness, what's happening with Wendy Williams is scary for us to watch. And I think women in general should pay close attention to this, as the numbers show that women are earning more money every year, becoming, more educated, more entrepreneurs. When it comes to women, the stats are just generally more. So as our assets grow, it's not shocking that people would want to try to control a woman with, deep pockets. Because what's more liberating than being a woman is being a woman with some dough, baby. So you ain't got to answer to nobody. So in my opinion, they're trying to disempower Wendy by taking her coins. Because $54 million, she don't have to go to work. She could quit any day. She don't have to do a script. They say she has total autonomy and control over her life. You got $54 million in the bank. You ain't got to really do anything you don't want to do at that point. And for the celebrities to be so quiet about it is scary, because I'm like, y'all could be next. So at this point, we are keeping our eyes on it. And we are just going to keep eyes on it, guys. Check out the deep dive in the morning, the 60-minute deep dive on this. And 250 in the bank. Didn't Wendy's sister's lawyer, I'm sorry, the comments moving fast. I'm trying to catch it. Okay, so didn't Wendy's sister, Wanda, who's a lawyer, help her divorce case against Kevin? I don't know. Let me write that down. I'll research it and find out. I don't know who was Wendy's lawyer for the divorce, because I know Wanda is an attorney. She does criminal law. She works with juvenile. So I don't know, but I'll find out and get confirmation. Minnie Bar, I don't know where she might still, I don't. Maybe they celebrating. Are they still in Italy? I don't know. I'm just glad that I don't hear as much about them. Like, goodness gracious, like famous for just I don't even know why. Like, not even trying to hate. I wish I could make $1 billion doing what she do. Like, I would be with it to snap it. Like, okay, I would give a lot more to charity. I probably wouldn't be as rich because I would give it all away. Get a lawyer immediately. Yes, if someone's trying to play with you. And also, y'all, this is a tip that's free 99. Because, we were like, yo, get a lawyer, do this, but all of that stuff costs money. If you're in the back, your back against the wall, get a journal and write down your thoughts and feelings every day, because journals become some of the hardest hitting evidence at trial. Because jurors accept, like, ain't nobody lying in their journal. When you're just talking about your day, and I'm not saying juice it up, but when you're just going through, talking about your day, things that happen, journals just show the emotional fluidity of a person. And it also shows the stress, because I think when this is all over, Wendy should sue them for intentional infliction of emotional distress and defamation for defaming her health and her mental faculties. Because to say that someone doesn't have the cognition of mental faculties to take care of themselves disqualifies them from any further employment, because employers will see her as a risk, especially if it's something in broadcasting where everything's caught on camera. So calling her crazy knocks her out for so many opportunities, because no one's going to want to work with someone if they think that they don't have it under control or they're not calibrated, blah, blah, blah. So that defamatory allegation in Wells Fargo's quest for the money. But I don't know. Lori said some tea is going to spill and we're going to see. So hopefully it will, and we're working on the limited docket because they sealed it. Now, if the tea going to spill, I'm like, well, Lori, why y'all sealed the docket? Honey, if it's gonna spill, why you all ran and grabbed the napkin and stopped the spillage? That's what I don't understand. And this, I wonder if they started making these allegations or seeing her spending change after her divorce. So we'll see. We will see. So y'all, that's all I got for Wendy Williams. I did the deep dive. It's uploading in the morning. Yeah, so I'm going to sign off, get some dinner. Let me know what y'all want me to play the interview again, just a little snippet. Do y'all want me to roll that back while we do our time checks? And everybody got to let me know where y'all at, what time it is as we sign off. Y'all, it's been an hour and 30 minutes. It did not feel like it. It feels like 20 minutes. It really does. But we're gonna call Lori back. Update on so I don't have any updates on Miss Jewell today. I was tied up all day with work and getting this together, but I'll get some updates and post those. So let me make a note for updates on Sergeant Jewell. She was released. We do know that she was released, and I know she had GoFundMe trying to get attorney counsel. She was released after they had got her when she went back onto the base, and it was recorded when they detained her, but now she's been released. And the last update we had was she was being followed by I think it was someone in the Army, and this was on her Instagram. So that's the last update we had, is she was released. But it was the SUV. I think it was what was that? A Suburban, like an older model, champagne colored Suburban in Fort Hood, Texas. And on the military base, everywhere she went, this car was a few feet behind her and outside of her barracks, her home. So the intimidation continues. I don't know why these agencies and entities are so offended by transparency and truth. It's weird to live in a country where when you just try to tell the truth and do the right thing, it's wrong. So we are going to keep following Sergeant Jewell. I'll keep you updated on the Wendy matter, because this seems like it's going to be interesting, because the next hearing is in June. And, we don't know what's going to happen. Will it become permanent, or when will Wendy get control of her assets back? Will she be able to show them that she has gained capacity? So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Tim Nice. I like that name. Tim Nice, 1051 in Charlotte, North Carolina in the building. Kim B. Kim, you had some good questions today, girl. Keep it coming. Yes, I like it. Kim B in SC, my home state, SC. Oh, that's why we inquisitive. When I was a kid, they said ask too many questions. I turned out to be a lawyer. New Jersey in the building. East Coast in this thing strong. 1052 New Jersey, y'all. It's Friday Eve. It's Friday Eve. And here in America, we had a hell of a week. We ending light. We ending fluffy. But I do want to let everyone know in the jury, I found out something so disturbing. I'm gonna have to research it more, but Buffalo, the person who committed the mass shooting in Buffalo, 10 people, they say he only has one charge for, can I say the word, what the charges are? I don't know how strict they are, but he only had one charge, and he took away 10 people's life. So I'm gonna have to understand why the prosecutor has not charged him with first degree against everyone. So that is something that needs to be investigated. And I will call the prosecutor's office. I probably won't record that call. Or I just, you know what? I'll look up the law to make sure it's permissive. I'll record it. But I need to understand, as a former prosecutor, if someone takes, thank you so much, Callie. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. If someone, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If someone goes and punch 3 people, don't you charge them with assault? 3 counts of assault for each person. Now, I don't understand why this is hard for the counselors of America. Do we need to have a Lawyers Academy 101? Or y'all just want to troll? How do you even get one charge? How do you even get a singular word in a mass shooting with 10 people? It doesn't even make sense. So what is the one charge for? For who? Because whenever you have a charge like that, the way it's written on the indictment, you have to say who that is against. There's no way you can even say against blah, blah, blah. The charge doesn't even allow for it to be typed that way. It has to be separate counts. I'm gonna have to look it up, guys. So if y'all want me to do a follow-up, because even if I don't do videos, I'm a quiet activist. I have to call. Like, I don't post everything and all of that. I ain't, doing everything on social media, but just when stuff is happening, I like to call behind the scenes. And if you guys want me to just start tapping in, recording the ones that is legally allowed, because every state doesn't allow one-sided recording. And it's either 2-party consent or a 1-party consent state. 1-party consent means either person on the phone call, as long as they agree, could record. You don't need the other person's permission, as long as one party at least says, I want to record. But you can't just secretly record both people. So California and New York are 1-party states. So I'll look and see and find out why the DA in Buffalo thought that it was okay to only put one charge for the mass shooting in Buffalo. It doesn't make sense. Appreciate you, Jay. No Cap, Mac. I like y'all names. Ooh, wee. Jay said no Cap. But you know who is Cap? Lori. Well, maybe not. I don't know. We're going to hold out Lori for a few more weeks. I'm going to have faith in you that you are going to unveil something that clears your name. Okay, so did you remember Annie talks about 19 children and 2 adults? In more disturbing news, I don't know if people have even heard about what happened with the incident in Uvalde, Texas, but it has come out that law enforcement, they say waited 90 minutes outside, mulling around looking for keys before they went inside to help children. So it was 40 cops on the scene. That it was more than enough power for us to. And I'm like, don't they have those things where they, what's that thing called, y'all, when they hit the door? Y'all, listen, that's what stopped them keys. Has keys ever stopped the cops from busting down the door? When do the cops ever have keys? Now I'm thinking about it. Do cops is it normal to have keys? Isn't it usually in an emergency situation where they got to take that thing and. So I don't know what's going on with this, but we're going to get to the bottom of that. I saw that Pink Honey with tasing parents because the parents were absolutely shocked. And, parents are out there begging, screaming. And one dad, God bless his soul, I need to find his name. He huddles up the parents and was like, listen, I'm not going to listen to kids scream. He says, we're going to rush the doors. He said, I'll do it. I don't care. I'll sacrifice myself. We're not going to do this. They get the courage to try to, go and stop this. And the cops slam him on the ground. They got tasers out using force against the dad. Y'all, 90, do you know how long 90 minutes is to hear kids screaming? 90 minutes of hearing kids screaming? That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. How? Because y'all looking for keys? Y'all, do cops just randomly have keys? I thought all of their entrances were a little, usually if they got to come in, it's not with the key, right? In this part. But an officer was able to go in and get his children. And he was able to go in through the same unlocked side door that Salvador Ramos went through. So this situation is so sad, y'all. It's just, and I saw the teacher's husband, like, it's really, really sad. Yeah. Yeah. Absolute cowards. It ain't, they had the big AR. They had on bulletproof vests. They had on if this ain't go time, I don't know what is. What's the point of the town of Uvalde spending half of its governmental budget on police care if they're not going to use the force? So here's my question. What are all the ammunition, what is it relegated for? Because it's not for emergency situations where we really need it. So what situation do you guys use it? Officers of Uvalde. And what situations do you go barging in? I'm curious. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, when do you suspect? No questions asked, going blazing in. Not looking for keys. They looking for, that's the craziest thing I ever heard of. I never heard of cops needing keys to get in. I thought all of their entrances were usually pretty, it wasn't like an invite situation. So this is heartbreaking. And don't forget, tomorrow the NRA is having a meeting in Texas. And that little weak statement they put out, they could have just did nothing. No one was expecting you guys to put out a statement. So putting out a statement saying absolutely nothing, like, what was the point? No one was expecting you all to care. So we have that situation with Uvalde unfolding. We have Wendy with the courts, and I'm just so glad that at this moment, the news is focusing on the news and not the slap. But we need to understand all the shortcomings in Uvalde. And members of the jury, I need y'all help. Y'all, let's do freedom, do a FOIA request. Freedom of information, just Google it. It should be a link, but it's a small town. It may be extra. And let's find out who, who were there any heroes this day? Who were these officers? Like, were they not trained in situations like this? Like, what? It's so bizarre. So we have the coward cops of Uvalde, and coward is probably nice for the word I'm thinking of them. I don't think it's platform friendly, and I want to get working on my French words, the ones I'm not supposed to speak. So these cowards went in and got their own. How do you get your own children? How can you go and get? How can you bypass other kids knowing what's happening? What? I mean, this is unbelievable. And when everything was happening, I noticed the timeline, but I was like, maybe they were reporting it wrong. Because they kept saying 11:30, and I was like, wait, but why did this end at 1 o'clock? Because the raw, based on the picture we saw, doesn't look like it's a huge school. And it's one story, so it looks like it's pretty easy to establish a perimeter around the building. Had quite a bit of windows, could work in their benefit and to their detriment. But it doesn't take a high level degree of tactical skills to be able to figure out how to enter that building and make it happen. I mean, this is just where smarts come in. Okay, if the principal is somewhere, can we get her on the phone? Can someone get us a blueprint of this building? If they can't, let's get on Google Maps. We got to get a blueprint, figure out where we could go into the building, where we could be discreet if possible, try to isolate where he is, quietly start getting other students out. It's a lot they could have done, but do nothing but look for keys. Never even knew cops. I didn't even know that was an element. We just need the keys. So, guys, let's lift up the parents in Uvalde, also the teacher, and also her husband, who had a heart attack and passed away. He was so devastated. They left behind 4 children. Yeah, it's just a tough situation. It's a lot going on. So we got Wendy with her fortune tied up, and we keep seeing this kind of theme happening closer and closer in time. Like, it's kind of rare, and now it's just happening. So paying attention to that, and updates to come on Sergeant Jewell. And as you all may recall, she was given 10 days to prepare everything to transition into civilian world, which is a fancy way of saying basically you got to find a job, apartment, and we throwing you off in 10 days. So she has to up and get it together. And I don't know where she is in that process, if every day is a different step, but I'll try to search her social media and find out where she is. I'm going to keep at her GoFundMe, see how the fundraising is going, and give updates as she transitions into her civilian life and try to recover from her experiences within the military. And hopefully she'll be able to take some time, because, so often we don't get a break. I hope she'll get a moment to just decompress. Like, sometimes when shit happens, you just need a moment, if that's 2 or 3 weeks. And, in America, is such a rat race. Our society does not allow us time, space, and energy to decompress. All they do is say, get your behind up and work, while they ride around on their private jets and travel country to country for no talent at all, except paying the media, just being rich enough to buy it. So we're going to keep praying for the families in Uvalde, investigating everything with Wendy and how her situation pans out. And I guess the silver lining with Wendy's situation is they made it temporary, not permanent. And I'm praying it won't be permanent once she goes up for her next hearing. I will. And I guess, guys, you'll have to let me know, because I guess after everything happened in 2020, the platform is so strict. Will they let me do it, or will they consider that will YouTube me covering Brett? Because I definitely want to, because Breonna Taylor deserves it. I would love to do an expose. Yeah. And you know what? Either way, the answer is just yes. If I can't do it here, I'll put it on Patreon. So on Mr. Brett. And Brett, if I remember correctly, wasn't he the officer that once he was out on bond or while all this was happening, he was pictured down in Florida vacationing. Is that him? That one? Thank you, Peak Honey. Peak Honey says she's gonna email me some videos to get started. Thank y'all. Y'all the bomb. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, so I think that's the guy who, one of the officers who was so arrogant once the Breonna Taylor stuff happened, he whisked off to Florida and he was vacationing. It was just like the nerve. First of all, you out on bond, so you're not supposed to be out of town. Like, see how they just, y'all, it be the little rules that they hold against people of color. But look how every step of the way they violate them all the time. Everybody know, even if you innocent, if you got a case with some charges, you can't go out of town. Now that's just a basic, 101. Everybody know this. If you tied up with something, no. And he was tied up with a case for being ruthless and heartless, and taking someone innocent's life. Like, that's crazy. He wasn't supposed to be traveling out of town. Like, So I'll do a deep dive on that situation. I think it deserves it. It warrants it. It will never, ever get old what happened. How many times they want to rewrite it. We all know the truth. It will be my pleasure. Yes, I will. Miss Breonna Taylor deserves that. And her story needs to be told so many times so that it can never be repeated. Sorry, I was just sitting here thinking about the DA, the district attorney, where Breonna Taylor's case happened. What's his name? Daniel Cameron. Boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh man. I saw that attorney read the rap lyrics. I said, now why didn't he at least try to listen to the song? But in my opinion, I think that was his subtle way of being shady. Like, this is so ignorant. I can't. When he said the word choppers and said it slow like choppas, I was like, sir, why are you doing this? Nikki, my email is KourtChronicles@gmail.com. CR said, what's up with Go China's GoFundMe or updates on appeal? I don't know anything about the GoFundMe, but I'll let you guys know. In the appeal, we know was pushed back. And, oh, excuse me, I'm mixing up the cases. Rob's case, the revenge P, was pushed back. They had to delay it. And the appeal is still pending. It's still, we haven't had any updates as far as responses from the Kardashians' attorney. And remember, y'all, as soon as someone files an appeal, the other side has 30 to 45 days to respond in writing. So the appeal will be a lengthy process, but it probably won't be super long. But it's in the appellate process and waiting on briefs to be filed. And as soon as they are, we'll give the updates. And right now, waiting on Rob's case to start, which was slated for May 19th, but it got continued. And in court, in case if a hearing or a trial gets continued, it may not always be it may not be anything at the behest of any party. It could be something as simple as just a calendar conflict or something like that. Or sometimes the clerk may miscalculate and think a case is solved and kind of double book the judge's calendar. So we'll see. $11:11, y'all, and it's 8:11. Here, another angel number. So definitely we'll cover all the research. And as the portals are open, sending y'all good vibes, sending y'all good energy. I want y'all to just enjoy your Friday. If you can, decompress as much as you can, if possible. Because I know everybody, we want to stay comprised, but just take a mental health break and get some sunshine and, relax and do something you enjoy just to clear your mind and hug the people you love, yo. Hell, and when you swipe your card, thank God that ain't nobody tying up your coins. Yeah, Kim out there doing too much. Kanye come out with McDonald's, she got the vegan. I just can't. Everything is tit for tat. It's so petty. I'm like, are y'all broken up or not? Like, let it go, Kim. She's so busy trying to one up in the vegan commercial. I wouldn't eat that vegan. In my opinion, she looked like it was disgusting when she was chewing. It did not look like she was enjoying it. I like vegan burgers, but I'm like, oh, I'm gonna tell the truth. Once I saw that Beyond was doing something with her, they lost credibility because I know the Kardashians are known for not being honest about their products. And I don't eat meat. And as a person who's really big on that, I would be mortified if I found out, oh, it's 2% meat juice or something. So because of that, and once I saw Kim with it, I was like, this probably is not really plant-based because they've never, I can't think of any products where they just rolled it out and was all the way honest. It's always been some issue or something. She spit it out? Probably. Because I don't know, am I being petty? But she did not look like she liked it. Yeah, Mercury retrograde just means it's time to chill. Like, don't fight the universe. Don't fight it, just relax. That's all. It's just a little slow down so the energy can catch up with the vibe. That's all. She said, Kim, I'll be on IG hard. I hop on and off so quick. Say, Kim, got drag for the commercial on IG. Please send it to me. You had to clutch your pearls. When I saw her too, I was like, y'all, it did. I was like, she looked like she ain't taste that before she did it, before they rolled. So maybe it was plant-based. So y'all, good night. Thank y'all for coming and tuning in and checking out Kourt Chronicles Thursday night live with the jury, where we are showing receipts and spilling tea, and basically dedicated the bulk of this talking about Lori and how they're navigating. And also I have a list of other things to look into and do some deep dives. So y'all, happy Friday Eve. Keep your head up in the poetic words of Tupac. And we will touch base again on Monday night, live with the jury, with updates on all these matters that you guys asked me to look into. And also, don't forget, tomorrow dropping is the 60 minutes of Wendy Williams, the expose with all the receipts, with everything laid out for you all, showing where I think there are areas of impropriety, i.e., and that's just a fancy way to say shadiness, and just laying it out, because the Wendy Williams versus Wells Fargo case is another large multi-million-dollar suit that involves investments, assets, homes, mortgages, insurance policies. It's an empire. So we will continue to follow how the courts manage that, and more updates to come about Sergeant Jewell, updates on the Black China case, the appeal, and the Revenge P case as it comes out, and Wanda researching if Wendy's sister Wanda helped her with her divorce from Kevin. So y'all, that's all I got. It's been 2 hours hanging out with Kourt Chronicles live with the jury. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for checking us out, tuning into the live call. More to come. I'll keep the updates coming. Thank you all. Before the sign off, I definitely want to say thank y'all for spending Monday and Thursday night with me. Thank you for sending me DMs. Thank you for sending me messages and everything. Your support means everything. Thank you so much for the super chats. It really helps a lot to keep the channel, going and get all the resources that you need to run a channel. So thank you. Thank you for giving me the most precious thing we all have, and that's your time. I would not be able to have this channel without all of you tuning in and helping me, guiding me throughout my YouTube journey. So thank you all so much. It's been lovely. Good night, y'all. Shout out to my moderators in the building. Y'all moderators are the bomb. They are amazing. They come through. They hang in here all night with us. So thank you so much, y'all. Everybody, it has been amazing. We've been spilling the tea and showing the receipts on Kourt Chronicles Thursday night live with the jury. Please follow on Instagram at Kourt Chronicles, and just set up a TikTok. So at the Kourt Chronicles on TikTok, and Instagram is at Kourt Chronicles. So check me out there. I'll be posting soon. And until then, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Y'all had hold on, where's there's confusion? Oh, where there's confusion, there's a lot. Oh, talking about the Wells Fargo case. Absolutely. And that's why we're going to keep following it up. Absolutely. Absolutely. God is not the author of confusion. We know that too. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, until next time, until we spill more tea, more receipts coming out, court is adjourned. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Love, love, love to all the jury. Y'all have a beautiful weekend and see y'all tomorrow with the video drop.